Guys, it's Shashank. And the moment you try to sell to somebody, they start defending themselves and the sale resistance increases. Not because they do not want the result that you are offering, because they do not want to admit that the part of their identity is wrong. Why? Because a part of their identity feels threatened if they agree to what you are offering. Now you are like, Shashank, what do you exactly mean, right? So let's go deeper into this topic and really understand the identity mechanics of how human beings make decisions, right? Now, whenever you are making a decision, there is one term which you need to remember known as cognitive dissonance, right? What does that mean? A heavy word, a heavy psychological word, but I'll explain it in a very simpler manner. Now, whenever you're trying to sell anything to anybody, this is how I view the entire process. Number one, the prospect is at a current situation right now, their current situation where they're not happy. Maybe they want to launch a business, they want to make more money, and your offer will allow them to make more money. But this is their current situation or their hell island where they are in pain. And then there is this island, which is their heaven island, their desired situation, where they see themselves making that multiple lakhs every month, living that lifestyle, traveling the world, etc. etc. Now, the entire goal of the sales call is to define this current or the heaven island properly and the hell island properly, and try to increase this gap between the two islands so that the prospect actually feels that this is really impossible to do themselves and the pain increases. That is what this means. That is what we are exactly doing on the sales call. And after that, after you have increased this gap, you have widened the gap properly, made them feel that pain, then when you are pitching, you are basically giving them a bridge from their current situation, their hell island, towards the desired situation or the hell island. That is what sales is all about. And I'm sure you must have heard this concept earlier as well. If not, now you have heard. But that is not where it stops. Majority salespeople think that it all stops there. And even a lot of YouTube videos or courses or everything that you would find out there will teach you this only. That there's a current situation, desired situation, heaven island, hell island. You need to widen the gap between them, and then your pitch would be the bridge between the two. That's why the people will buy. That's nice. That's true, but that's partially correct. Why? Because alongside these two things, the current situation and the desired situation, let's call them heaven and hell island for simpler terminology. The hell island and the heaven island, right? These are not the two alone things that are going through this entire process on the sales call. Apart from this, there are two other things as well, which is the current identity of your prospect and the future identity of your prospect. The ideal identity of your prospect, the person they really want to become. Now you tell me, if you are stuck in this situation, that is because of the kind of person who you are, what you believe about the world, what actions you take, what decisions you make. That is why you are stuck in this kind of world right now, correct? Now, if you want to really go to this world, then don't you feel your identity, the kind of decisions you make, the kind of beliefs you hold, the kind of self-image you have also needs to upgrade in order to reach this place? That is what majority people skip out on. And they really do not use this on sales calls. That's why your sales calls sound very synthetic overall. It's not like a conversation. There's no deeper connection between you and the prospect. Why? Because you're just on the surface level. You're not really diagnosing what the person is going through. Then how can you possibly help them? So that is exactly what you're helping the prospects to do. Not just go from the current situation to desired situation, but also improve or upgrade their current identity to their desired identity so that they can reach the desired situation. That is what is exactly happening. Now, when you are on a sales call, what ends up happening is two things. Very simple. They have this current identity with which they have been, they are growing up with this identity. It's a part of who they are. What does identity mean? Just for clarity, identity is equal to your self-view plus your worldview. Simple logic, right? What is self-view and worldview? Self-view is basically your self-image, how you see yourself, what beliefs do you hold about yourself, and the worldview is equal to what beliefs you hold about the world. Do you think world is a cruel place? Do you think only few people are lucky? Do you think only gifted people can make money? Those are your beliefs. That is how you view the world. Now these two things combined create your identity. Now this person has a current identity because of which he is stuck in the situation where he is right now or she is right now in their life. And if you want to upgrade, if they want to reach this desired situation, some part of their identity, some of the world view or the self view that they have, some beliefs that they hold really dear to themselves, they have to kill it. Literally, some part of their identity has to die and they have to upgrade in a better version of themselves in order to reach the desired goal. Without identity upgrade, people won't get the results. Now, I'll give you a simple example. There are a lot of coaching programs out there, and majority people have this thing in their mind that, course sellers or coaching programs, online courses are all scam. They do not work. Now, how can possibly online courses be a scam? I'm talking just about the legit ones, people like me, not the obvious scammers. They are also out there, but they're like a small percentage. Majority are genuine people who are actually wanting to help others, right? But things do not work out for you even after you come inside the coaching program because of couple of things. Now, there are only 3 things that you need to do in order for a coaching program to work for you. Number 1, let's say you come and you want to learn sales from me. So the first thing I would tell you that you will have to put in the work. This is not a easy thing. Sales is not walk in the garden. You really have to put in efforts. So that is the first thing I require. Time commitment, that you are actually putting in the efforts to learn this new skill. Second, I want you to follow the process that I have. Why? Because I've used it on thousands of calls. I've trained 50, 60 closers on this in the past 1 year. So I have enough proof that this works, right? So just follow my process. And third thing that I want is whenever you face a challenge, ask me a question, because I've also faced that in my career. Shaurya has faced that in his career. We know the answers. Just ask it. Now you tell me, if you're possibly doing these 3 things, why would you fail? If you have 100% confidence that my process works, if you have seen me making money using the same closing framework that I'm going to teach you, why do you think you cannot do it? Logically, it should work, right? Now, still there are people who wouldn't generate a result despite giving me money, despite learning everything. Who are those people? Who did not upgrade their identity. Because they did not upgrade their identity, they did not do these 3 things. They started self-sabotaging. They did not put in the efforts that were required. They're putting just 1 hour per day and they're like, oh, I'm not getting results. Sure, you should not. It took me many years to become an expert in sales, right? So definitely in 1 hour, you cannot get a result. Despite me telling them this fact, still they won't put in more efforts. Why? Because their identity, they have created a self-image where they see themselves as a lazy person. Now, if they believe that I'm a lazy person, no matter how much pep talk I give them, they're still not going to upgrade themselves. That, even after a pep talk, it might be that a short phase in next 2-3 days, they become serious, they start investing time, but after that they fall back to their old situation again. And I'm sure you might be resonating with this because a lot of you actually face this problem, right? And that is why people do not get the results when they come inside coaching program. Second belief can be, I've told them to follow the process, but they have a belief that, oh, I know everything about sales. Now, if you know everything about sales, then best of luck. You're definitely not going to be open to whatever I'm going to teach, because I teach some really counterintuitive things, right? So you're not going to accept it, you're not going to implement it, and then you're not going to get the results ultimately. Now, because of your identity, you're not getting the results. Why? Because you refuse to upgrade your identity. So this example is just to show you that identity upgrade is the foundational thing, and after that only you can take the actions that are essential, and only then you can create this desired situation. So what makes you think that on a sales call, if you do not upgrade the identity of your prospect, what makes you think that they will buy from you? What makes you think that? If they are using the same decision making parameters to reach here, right? It's pretty simple. Let me break it down. They have their identity and decision making parameters, right? Because of which they have this reality right now, their current situation, the Hell Island. What makes you think, if they make decisions from this identity, what makes you think that they can reach here with that? What makes you think that they will opt for this or buy this when they are operating from here? It won't happen. You will have to help them to upgrade their identity and make a decision from this version of themselves, the ideal version of themselves. Hence, people feel that resistance within them. Why? Because it's literally a fight between their old identity and the new identity. The new identity is like, oh yes, I want to do this, I want to earn more money, I want to learn sales. But the old identity is, I suck at sales. Sales is a manipulative skill. I cannot scam people. Online course sellers are scammers, right? So this conflict is going on. And if you as a closer cannot help them to make a decision, then this identity version wins and the sale is gone. That is it. That is exactly what's happening inside the prospect's mind. It is basically their self-protection mechanism. Their ego is trying to, this ego or / identity is trying to protect itself. It's trying to survive. It's trying to stay alive, because if they take the decision, a part of this will have to die. Only then they would be able to get the result that they signed up for, right? So this internal battle, this internal conflict is happening between them. But you do not understand this as a closer. And what do you end up doing? When the prospect is like, oh, I'll have to think about it, your immediate reaction is, oh, what do you need to think about? They're already having this resistance. And once you say this line that this guy like literally wins by a mile, that is what is happening right now. So in a sense, you are trying to kill certain part of their identity so that they can transform into the ideal version that they want to become, and then they can attract the ideal situation or the desired situation that they want. Now, because you do not understand this mechanics, how this actually happens on the sales calls, that's why you get objections. That's why you get delays. You get, I'll think about it, I'll speak to my partner objections. Can you show me testimonials? That's why people start ghosting you, because you're not handling objections. You need to understand this. You're fighting self-protection mechanism of human beings, of human psychology. Each one of us has this self-protection mechanism. So you're actually fighting against that. And if you do not know how to handle that in a nuanced manner, then you shouldn't get the sale then. Like literally you shouldn't get the sale then. Because if you get the sale, then where do I go? Where do experienced salespeople go? So that's why you need to get to the nuances of the sales game. It's not that surface level that you can just read a script. Yeah, you will get some results. You will get results here and there, but you won't become the expert level, or you won't make generational wealth with this. With average skills, you will get average results. With good skills, expert level skills, you will generate expert level results. Pretty simple, right? So ultimately the question is, Shashank, what should we do? What you need to do is become a decision guide on the call instead of selling them something. Your entire job as a closer is not to tell them something, not to justify anything, not to convince them, not to argue. That is not what you have to do. What you have to do on the call is you have to ask the right questions. With the right questions, help the prospects to come at the conclusions that you want them to come at, basically. So what I mean is, instead of throwing statements, oh, do you know how beneficial this offer will be for you? This will change your life. Instead of saying that, ask them a question. Oh, what do you think can be the benefit of actually doing this right now in your life? What do you think can change in your life after you do this? So you need to ask questions so that they come at the conclusions that you want them to come at, right? And you need to make them feel safe in order to change. You cannot threaten their old identity. If you do that, the sale is gone. You need to actually be on the same page with them. You need to show them this is what's happening right now internally within you. You need to acknowledge their nervousness and tell them it's completely fine. We are on the same page. Don't worry. Everybody goes through this, right? And that is when you will be able to get the sale. People don't resist change. They resist being changed. That is what you need to remember. So what you need to do is normalize hesitation. If there is hesitation, normalize it. Like, expect objections in the end. That's what I do. You slow down the call, you ask more questions, you create more clarity, not pressure on the call, and you let silence also do the work, right? So that is when this cognitive dissonance dissolves and certainty arises in the prospect's mind. So the more you sell, the more they will defend, and the more you guide, the more they will decide. So that's a good line that I came up with. So overall, if you found this video helpful and if this was like a insightful video for you, drop a like, let me know your thoughts in the comment. And if you really want to become this decision guide that I was talking about, subscribe to the channel so that you can stay updated with all the videos that I post regularly over here. I'll see you in the next one.